Welcome back, YouTube. This is Josh from Build Divide Worldwide, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience at the Fukuoka Regional. So, to begin with, the deck I was playing was Margreta. I will flash a picture of the deck list I was playing on the screen, but basically, without getting too much into the nitty-gritty of the deck, I had a lot of faith in it as just a deck that is able to constantly bring your ace back from the dead and plus off of it, as long as you have enough units. I personally think I ran too many commands for that to be effective, but I do think that with the inclusion of the new 6-cost command unit, oh god. I personally think I ran too many commands, but I do think that with the inclusion of the new 6-cost shot unit, Moriarty, from set 8, this deck's potential has gone to a whole new level. But that's enough about the deck itself. Let's get into where we went. The Fukuoka Regional. Fukuoka is in the Kyushu area of Japan. It is really nice. However, I live in Wakayama. Getting to that shit is time consuming. First, I take a 4-hour train from where I live to Kansai Airport. Then I take a flight from Kansai Airport to Fukuoka Airport, which takes about an hour and a half. So in total, I spent about 5.5 hours traveling to Fukuoka on Saturday morning, I believe it was. Checked into the hotel, went to some street stalls to eat food. That dinner was delicious. Had a crepe afterwards, had some tacos. Went back to the hotel, got some sleep, and then just went right to work on the tournament next day. Getting into the tournament itself, round 1 was against Melissa's second territory, which is the territory where whenever you put an energy from your hand into your energy zone, one of your units gains 5,000 power. And the territory effect itself, you can activate that effect one extra time to add a unit from your energy zone into your hand and then put it back into your energy zone. Proccing it again, essentially. This match was very fast. I say match, but it's all best of ones. I played Rabian to start and just attacked early pressure. I went first in this game. Attacked first for early pressure. He ended up having 6 busters in his life. And when you have 6 busters in your life, there's really not a way to come back from that. So that was a very quick game for me. So that put me to 1-0. Round 2 was against Iora. I thought any Iora decks I saw would be the new black and blue territory, since the meta's had a little time to develop and I thought people would come up with recipes for it. However, it ended up being the first territory, Balbalbalon, which reads, whenever you use a cost 4 or lower command, I believe, you can remove 1 card from your hand to copy that card. So, unlimited command works, essentially.
I am the bone of my soul.
What ended up happening was, in this iteration of my deck, I ran a 2-cost white command that says whenever your opponent tries to play a 3-cost or lower card that's not an ace and it's not an observer, which both open territories, you can negate it. So his turn 1, excuse me, I went first here. So I played Rabian, attacked in for 1, and passed. His turn 1, he tried to use a draw 2, a Shinheiki Kaihatsu, which I negated with that card. That put him at a huge tempo disadvantage going into my turn 2. And so what ended up happening was I just continued pressure on from there. And once I summoned Margreta, he didn't have the resources in his hand or the commands in his deck in order to finish that game out. So he ended up decking out and I ended up winning that game. So that put me at 2-0. Round 3 was against a Margreta. It was a mirror match. In this one, I put this loss, I did lose this round, but I put this loss all on myself. I had 6 busters in life, It's not impossible to come back from that with Margreta because you do have so much late game presence on the board. But what made it difficult was that I didn't know how to play the mirror match. What you want to do in this, from my understanding, and what I will do next time, is neither of you wants to attack into your life, because neither of you wants to proc your shot units, which is essentially what I did the first 2 turns. Turn 1, I summoned a Rabian, attacked, he got a Perona off of his life. Perona is a 6 cost that when it is summoned, you can check the top card of your deck. If it's a unit, add it to hand. If not, remove it. So that was turn 1. My turn 2, he just sat on that Perona, had all 3 energy standing. I summoned another Rabian, attacked him again, which he didn't block, which was good on him, because if he did, I would have gotten an energy. And I attacked into another Perona. So he drew another card off that Perona. And from there, he just had the tempo. He used Bonsol, which is a card that is 2 cost red. And if you play his command from hand, you can put the top card of your deck into your energy rested. So he had energy advantage, he had field advantage, he had hand advantage, and he summoned his ace first. So at that point, I was fucked. And I lost. That put me to 2-1. Round 4 was against Iris's territory 2. So something I was concerned about coming into this tournament was that Margreta is not good against aggro decks. Specifically, the kind of decks that open their territory early and start capitalizing immediately. Or, which is Iris, or against Istarte, which I will get into later because I did end up facing one. But I digress. I really couldn't do anything against this deck. He opened the nuts, so he played Akora, the 3 cost 4K, which when this unit is rested and you activate a command, she draws you a card. Or you can attach an aura onto her and she turns something into 1000 power for the turn. So he played that, which my rabbit couldn't get over, into an Iris, which opened his territory, and he starts activating things. He removed my Rabian, so I couldn't get any value off of it. And on turn 3, he just sat with 5 mana so that he could respond to anything that I tried to do with. And turn 6, he played Ren and refreshed his hand. And at that point, it's pretty much a done deal. He just had too much pressure on the board, attacked into my life too many times early, and I couldn't recover. That puts me to 2-2. So I was batting a 50% average heading into round 5, which ended up being against Rebecca. This is another aggro deck, but something good about Margreta is that I don't mind if he pops Margreta. I don't mind if he gets the first 2 effects off, because 2k damage and 3k damage alone can't destroy Margreta. And then if he aims at her with the 10k damage and remove from the Arsenal Fort territory, I can just pop Margreta myself, avoid the removal, and she comes back on the field refreshed. So he essentially has to bait out all of my options. The only negative scenario would be if he had a Yarmila. 6 cost, if all your energy is rested, target 1 unit, deal 5k damage to it, and draw a card. If he uses that, the territory deals an additional 2k because of its own effect, 7k total, destroying Margreta the first time, and then Yarmila is a 9k if all your energy is rested, so she would just run over Margreta a second time and remove her from the game. Luckily for me, that didn't end up being the case, and I ended up just steamrolling. Round 6 was against Iora. Again, a territory 1. This was Bell Babylon. So it was the same scenario. I just got in damage early. I did end up drawing a negation again. I negated Nadia, his opening Nadia, which let me get in for free to attack with my units, which was very nice. And yeah, just steamrolled from there. He couldn't come back, and that was game. So at this point, I am 4-2. I'm sitting at table 10, And if I win, I have an inkling I'm going to be in the top 8. My first top cut ever in this game. And I play against an Ishtarte deck. Territory 1, of course. The Castle of Debauchery, as I like to call it. The Castle of Smut. And what happened was exactly what I had feared. I actually did draw a negation in my opening hand, so I negated his turn 1 Nadia. However, turn 2 he played an Aria, which is 3 cost black 4k, and it can attack your opponent's standing units. And he sat on that Aria, made sure I couldn't kill it. And what ended up happening was when he opened his territory, was when he started to go in on me. So when he opened his territory, his Aria became a 7k, which Margreta cannot get over. Margreta is a 6 cost, 6/5. So if he has 2 units on field, one being Aria, one being Ishtarte, then I will lose Margreta in that one turn every time. He kept that hand, and on his turn 5, he summoned a Dianus, and I could not come back from him having a board of 5 and me having a board of nothing and only 5 lives. That was the end of that. I lost that round. I was pretty salty about it for, I think, about 20 minutes until I calmed down and I realized that there was really nothing I could have done. I didn't even have bad life either. I had 3 shots in life, 2 busters. That's about as average and as you can ask for in this game. It just came down to the deck being a bad matchup and my deck not being up to the challenge of beating my worst matchup. Which, like I alluded to earlier in the video, I do think a lot of the cards from set 8 help fix those gaps in Margreta's game plan. And I'm planning to take her to Tokyo with me if I end up going to that regional. But I think I will post more about that later on. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more content like this, just us talking about our travels, our tournament experiences and whatnot, please let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to oblige. Until the next video, I've been Josh from Build Divide Worldwide, and I'll see you then.